Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our second match here at the GSTL. We have Axiom-Acer up against Team FXOpen, and game number 2 is going to be a Protoss versus Terran player with Showtime, who we haven't seen for FXOpen yet this or last season, going up against HOT. Seed looking actually quite funny there, a little bit of a Superman coat that he has wrapped around him.
Yep.
Wrong color though.
Yeah, wrong color indeed. He's always got that. He's always got like a hoodie or something with him, you know?
Choya on the other hand.
He's talking.
Okay, Choya has something with the camera guy today. Like, they have some kind of banter going on. He really doesn't like to be on camera today, apparently, and every single time he looks a little bit like he feels trolled. He starts, like, having this grin on his face, and he's like, wow, I did it again. I don't know what exactly they have going on there. Oh, wow, look at that. Contemplating things. JKS thinking about his performance in game number 1 today, where he was taken out by Ryung.
Well, this is going to be a good one. There's all sorts of jokes we can make about Showtime's ID that I didn't even think about until now, but it's Showtime, ladies and gentlemen. It is.
Nobody expected that one.
No one expected that. Just like the Smash Inquisition.
What?
Nobody expects a Smash Inquisition now.
Is that a thing? Is that like a...
Yeah, it's a Monty Python joke.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that.
I don't think Germans watch British humor because I don't think you guys line up like that.
Yeah, of course, Life of Brian and stuff like that. But I thought for a second like you were more real and like you were like actually like more historically speaking.
Well, I mean, if the Spanish Inquisition shows up at my house these days, like in the 21st century, I am not expecting that, man. I would be like, oh my god, like this. I'm in Korea, first of all. Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, you guys like took a wrong turn at some point.
Aren't you guys supposed to be like in China or something?
Well, HOT going up against Showtime is going to be our first Terran versus Protoss, and especially the Terran fans today will have a pretty good time since Axiom-Acer has a lot of Terrans on their roster. Gumiho, the Soul Terran for Team FXOpen later on today, of course, playing as well. So we are having a lot of Terran matches, something that we do not have this much this season, since most of the teams are more relying on Protoss and Zerg.
Yunsu is our map. Don't forget that. So another 2-player map. A lot of 2-player maps actually in our pool this season. Very different from previous seasons where we had a lot of 4-player maps. And then occasionally you'd be like, uh-oh, Aklon, someone's going to proxy here. But 2-player maps is going to be more standard.
Well, we're going into the game right now. Yonsu, as Wolf already mentioned, is map number 2 here, the team match between Axiom-Acer and FXOpen. Showtime versus HOT is the match at hand. Showtime, the newer player for Team FXOpen, has not had a lot of experience. HOT, on the other hand, was just recently in the US, so he might still be a little bit jet-lagged. And we're going to find out if that's going to influence his performance here, if he will be able to take the second point for his team and therefore bring Axiom-Acer in a 2-0 lead over FXOpen, who desperately need a couple of points on the scoreboard if they don't want to risk like even falling behind the Soul this season.
Yep. You covered it.
Yeah,
that was loading slowly.
Yeah, we're actually going to jump in the map like really soon. Like, they decided it's not Showtime yet. But any second now.
Yeah, it's about 90%.
There we go.
It's up. It's loaded. Like the game is running.
We're in the game, guys. Game number 2, GSTL Round 2, Season 2, 2013.
Full force when I step to the fore, bringing you that fuel source fresh from the core. Right mind, fit and strong, fuel like iodine. With blueprints, these huge quotes that my mind design.
Starting to the top right, we have a Protoss player for FXOpen, the second player that they sent out today. It is
FXO Showtime.
It's Showtime. Protoss.
Yeah, we had another Showtime back in the good old Warcraft 3 days, but that's not him, not the same guy. Bottom left of the map on Yonsu, we have the second Terran player for Team Axiom-Acer. The first one was victorious. Will he be able to perform the same?
Axiom Heart.
There was another Showtime actually with the Swedish player show. People used to make that joke all the time.
Gate at 10, by the way, for Protoss.
Yeah, so he's going to be putting on that Mothership Core aggression. And, you know, when you're up against a player who has a lot more experience than you in the booth and in the team league, I don't expect anything less from a player who's just a little bit less experienced. As you can see here, actually have not played any games on Yunsu. On the other hand, Hart has only played one. So,
but 100%.
100% win ratio. Yeah. He wants to keep the streak going today because maybe, if this map is still in the pool a few months down the road, he could actually have, a 6-0 or 7-0. That's impressive.
Just to give you a couple of stats on things, by the way, we have Hart with 9 wins and 13 losses, in Terran versus Protoss. That leaves him with a 48% win ratio with 22 maps played in total. And one of the people that he took down, he lost to Hero at WSCS America, he lost to Panic recently in the GSTL, other losses at Dream at Bucharest versus Huck at Stardust. So he's not really on the most impressive streak against Terrans, and that is one of the things that definitely work in Showtime's favor.
By the way, my original prediction about the Mothership pressure is incorrect. He's actually just rushing out, it looks like a Stargate here. Triple Harvesters in both gases, very fast core. The pylon finishes exactly around the time that the core finishes, and his 150 is ready. Stargate goes down, and he's going to have a really fast Oracle here.
The thing is that we have a second Reaper already coming in from Hart. That means that we have... Oh, that's the first Reaper.
Well, he's still going to see it, because this is like...
No, he's not going to see
it.
Oh
my god.
And he does.
That's obvious proxy location number 1. And,
yeah, obvious proxy location number 1 and number 2 checked and scouted. But still, the reactor is currently building. He's actually putting down another pylon just in case. And let's see how Hart is going to deal with this. I mean, knowing is half the battle. And at
exactly.
Least
I mean, as long as he gets his turret placement properly, if he can get a turret up, it's going to be golden. He looks like he goes for the factory first, which is a little bit risky.
Yeah, the thing is he puts also another Stalker dog out on the map, and with the Stalker alone he can already do a bit of damage to those Marines, and if the Oracle is there, that's just going to add up to that. Because Hart is not really the best player when he comes down defending against Protoss. If you actually look at his statistics, most of the wins that he has are against lesser known or absolutely unknown players.
It's true. The bunker placement is good. He doesn't go for the turret. We've seen the turret come down a lot of the time in this situation after the proxy is scouted. The bunker is almost as good, but he's going to face some damage, of course, to his add-on, for example, on the right here. We'll probably lose the reactor. Widow mines are going to be a concern as well. It's why he went for the factory. And, oh, the commands are barely not finishing there.
Yeah, commands are not finishing. He takes out another couple of harvesters, and even with the bunker, I mean, that Oracle is in a pretty sweet spot, and we have the Stalker already doing damage, and apparently the follow-up for Showtime is just Twilight Council and the Dark Shrine, maybe even.
Yeah.
I'm going to say maybe, it's pretty obvious that's probably what he's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, he could also go for Blink, edit timing with that after he damages the Marines, but Dark Shrine is also good. The thing about going Dark Shrine after Oracle is you're always like, well, he's probably going to get turrets, so... Yeah, it's going to be Blink.
Yeah, with the extra gates that he does, he's going for a Blink build here. The first Widow Mine now coming in, and that's of course going to limit the options a little bit for Showtime here. But he successfully denied second base for now. Harvester count is in the Protoss player's favor as he would like it to be, but we have that Sacro Orbital Command finishing.
Yeah, and the Blink is a ways away, and this actually gives Hart plenty of time to power up. He needs to actually get a second bunker though. One bunker is not going to be enough. And Widow Mines, okay, there's a second bunker. Widow Mines, if dodged against correctly, can actually be dodged with Blink Stalkers if the Blink micro is perfect. So Widow Mine's not going to be as useful as you might think. And blinking into the back of the base is going to be a little bit tough. And uh-oh, here's the scout. So he may even make a third bunker to the north of his base.
Yeah, that Reaper is definitely not going to do too much there. But here we have, of course, still the slight contain here for Showtime. But Showtime is now in a position where it's just going to get worse and worse for him. We have even the siege check now coming up, and with the siege check alone, he can already push it back. The double bunker at the front is going to save things. It's just about can he jump in, but now we even have a Widow Mine there. Oh!
Yeah, nearly.
Granting the vision.
Yeah, he does have detection there. If he loses the Oracle, this attack is going to end because he won't have any more vision anymore. Yep. He doesn't have the Mothership core to rely on. There's one siege tank, though, and I think that's kind of almost lights out at this point with no Void Ray support here, just Blink Stalkers. He could Blink up into the left, but he's just going to take too much damage. He might try for it. He's just eating shots here.
Blinks in and takes down the tank. The Widow Mine not triggered. Now it's triggered. Here come those SCVs. He needs to get the Oracle in there, but he needs to be careful. Trying to take the Marines out. There's just too many of them. Blinks down. And yeah, things are starting to get very, very iffy here for Showtime. He's so far put up a decent job, but we have the Reaper blocking his natural.
Now the second siege tank is out here.
Hart playing it super safe now with an extra bunker on the mineral line.
Yeah, he's just, I mean, there's not much that he could do. Just tries to run over here on the edge. He's picking off some Harvesters, but if he loses the Oracle, he's not going to be able to blink back in.
Oracle just got away in the nick of time, and here we have those Stalkers still doing damage. Nice unit control so far, but a huge amount of Marines trying to chase them down, and suddenly the range of the Siege Tank is going to be a problem again.
He has to blink out here. He lost so much. There's still 17 Marines on the map, and he's not making any more probes. There's a second orbital with double mules coming down. The economy is not good. He actually does do a revelation here, which not in the current patch actually reveals Widowmines underground, so he's actually going to eat a shot here. Boom.
Oh, wow. And now he's up with his back to the wall. The Oracle comes in, doing some damage too. He needs to retreat to the bunker and 2 siege tanks. I just don't think that he can do anything against those. If there's only one, you can always try to blink in and do damage, but with 2 siege tanks, it's going to take too long for you to take them down.
He has to warp in a Stalker at home, and the Reaper's just going to walk away, gets one more kill. And yeah, I mean, with the 2 siege tanks here, how are you really going to approach? Even a third siege tank now sieging up in the mineral line. Nowhere to run here. Maybe he can get the 1 siege tank, but then he's going to have to type GG. And I think that's actually exactly what we're going to watch here. He doesn't even get it with the repair.
And here comes another shot. All of the Stalkers gone except for 2, and they are already down to the red. 9 army supply against 32. They're blinking away, but this game, as you can see, is basically over.
That Reaper could kill both of those Stalkers by himself if he came over.
No expansion for Showtime. Hart has the second orbital. We have him with siege tanks, with Marines. Stim has been started. And a Dark Shrine is just desperation coming from Showtime now.
Yeah.
And Hart, I would be very, very surprised if Hart would be in a position where he does not see that coming.
He actually saves scans, and he starts an engineering bay. And it's just, I mean, the only thing he doesn't have going for him against DTs is he doesn't have a full wall. But as long as he has those scans that he's currently saving, he should be fine. No, he's not dropping any mules. He's just keeping all the scans here. And 2 siege tanks at the top, 2 siege tanks at the ramp. And it doesn't matter that there's a Nexus here. It's too late, and the tech is just all wrong. And the tech is not going to be useful here at all. Blink is no longer useful with only 3 Stalkers on the map.
I'm a little bit surprised that he plays it this timid now, Hart that is. I mean, he could just easily move out, and that's
what was that
does.
reveal? That he didn't even, he hit 1 Marine with that. That was poorly targeted.
Yeah, so now the expansion comes in, the siege tanks on the higher ground chasing everything else back. The second base moving in, and then he can saturate that immediately. Hart is really scared here, apparently. Like, I don't know why he's moving back. He killed all of the Stalkers, and you should know that. So it's very surprising to me that he does it. And here we have those CTs coming in, and
he didn't even split them. And, I mean, that's about it. He warps in a third DT, almost in scan range, and there's already more scans ready.
On the other hand, Showtime is starting to actually build up that second base. And he's still behind in the game, but Hart should not give him too much time. There's no need for him to do it.
Exactly. All he needs to do now is make 2 turrets, 1 in the main and 1 at the natural, and go kill him. And that's actually basically all he has to do. There's no amount of Blink Stalkers that can counter-threaten. He has the base down.
How many did he lose? Like 12 Blink Stalkers earlier?
Yeah.
In that attack, so that alone already puts him far behind. And as you can see, like, Hart keeps his units close. He has a couple of siege tanks in the main base still. If there is a Blink in miraculously with a second army of Stalkers that just appeared out of nowhere, but Showtime, he's really running out of options. That one expansion is, yeah, of course, keeping him in the game a little bit longer, but he is far, far behind, especially in army supply.
He's got no forge. You know, he has no robotics for for AoE. He does not have even, Temple Archives, of course. He can't afford that. He's trying to pick off some Marines here. He's doing everything that he can do right now. It's just never going to be enough unless Hart makes a major mistake.
I think Hart is already making a major mistake. Hart is like not doing anything. He's just sitting tight and trying to get his upgrades out. Of course, he's playing it safe, but at the same time, I feel like being this timid is not the best move here. He gives Showtime a chance to come back in the game.
I think he's just going to move out with the Raven. That way he doesn't have to use any more scans with the attack. And here he goes, Raven's out, he's moving out.
I was really scared for him. If he would just sit tight the entire duration of the game, and that would be so not what we're usually seeing from Hart, but he can just basically move across the map. We had mentioned the army supply like several times already, and you can see it again. He's doubling it. And okay, now he's moving across the map, and that should be the end of it.
He loses his Oracle now, which is pretty insignificant if you think about the long-term game here. Picks off 1 siege tank. I mean, he's doing these little things, but once there's no room left to run, the game's over. Where's the Mothership Core? Because that actually will give him an overcharge.
Showtime has pretty decent unit control. It's just like he was in a bad spot earlier, and Hart defended really well, and he did not leave anything to chance. There are a lot of Terran players that will try to skip on one of the bunkers, not get those siege tanks, and it's a little bit like interesting to see that siege tank reaction. That's something that we usually do not have. Most of the time we have like more marauders coming into the picture and then bunkers that he's trying to set up. But the siege tanks are exactly, I mean, they're great in this spot that he's in right now.
Yeah, I mean, the unit composition is so much better for Hart here. He's just going to be careful. Point defense from goes down against a mostly stalker army. Even the photon overcharge actually absorbed by that BDD. And the siege tanks are in range. They're going to start doing their damage.
Yeah, they're starting to do their damage, getting the shots in here. And we have the fight going on, of course. And, well, Hart is just on the end that deals out more damage. But the Marines and Marauders are nearly gone. The problem is that the same is true of the Stalkers.
Yeah, the Stalker's almost completely dead here. And against this many siege tanks, more medevacs reinforcing. The better economy still going to the Terran player, arguably. You know, it's 41 Harvesters, 34, but when the mules are dropped, it's just much, much better.
Upgrades also coming in for the Terran player, more and more units across the map. The siege tanks doing their thing. A lot of medevacs that can't heal a whole lot since there are nearly no Marines and Marauders left, but the second wave is coming in now, and that's going to put an end to things. Showtime in his first match here as a GSTL, putting up quite the fight against his opponent though.
Yeah. You know, FXOpen so far really coming in swing with the timings, but that's it. GG.
GG in game. Axiom-Acer takes game number 2 here at the GSTL. Well played by Hart, but also well played by Showtime. We've definitely seen worse performances from players that were in the booth in the team league for the first time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That was his execution was pretty much perfect. The problem is his proxy location was a bit too obvious. And also he was up against a good scouting build. Had it been a command center first, things could have been totally different. His unit control was really, really good with his Blink Stalkers. And with all of the pickoffs he had, it looked like, you know, in a miracle situation, maybe he holds there. But the Raven really being kind of the nail in the coffin. You could see that even when there was only like 2 siege tanks and 1 Marauder, the Stalker Force couldn't kill anything with the point defense absorbing half the shots.
Yeah, now, I mean, the 2 games that we saw, there was basically 2 of the matches where everybody kind of thought, alright, these are games that probably are going to be taken by Axiom-Acer.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those, you look at this maps and you're like, alright, well, these 2 players are highly favored. So then you see that JKS and Showtime come out with timing attacks because they're trying to catch their opponents off guard. And it either works or it fails, you know, in this case where they do go for the timings, and it failed.
So I feel like if you look at the lineup, how it works, most people would have expected the Terrans to take the win. So we have a 2-0 lead now for Axiom-Acer, but this is of course not the end of things, because the next match is going to be very different. It's going to be on Fruitland, that also makes it very, very different and unique. But at the same time, we have Lino coming out for FXOpen, and for Axiom-Acer, it's going to be Crank. And I feel this is one of the crucial matches that we're going to have. Most people would favor Lino here, but Crank has shown us that if he has set his mind to things, he can really prepare for an opponent like crazy and make a build there that works.
Crank is actually really good at planning and coming up with strategies. That's why he you know, kind of helps his players with some strategies and things like that in the team house, because he's got a lot of experience and he's just a smart player overall. He knows how to look at a map and make a strategy really, really well.
So Lino is of course one of those players in the lineup of Choya where he said like, listen, we need that win. This is one of the things. This is one of the games where you need to win it. And I guess the same is also true from Hurricane going up against Impact later. We did not really have a lot of games that Impact play. We haven't seen a whole lot of him, but we know that Hurricane is of course one of those guys who really makes things happen at FXOpen these days. So I feel like Hurricane and Lino are the 2 players where Choya probably said, all right, the 2 of you have to win. And
you have to win.
If that happens, then it would be a 2-2. But if Lino now loses to Crank, or later on Impact, aka Makia, takes down Hurricane, then it's a completely different story, and then suddenly FXOpen is down for the count.
Yeah, if neither one of them takes a win, then it's over.
Yeah.
So at least one of them has to take it. And Lenok is going to be the first one to step up to the plate here. You can see his stats are incredibly good. He's played 38 games and won 21 of them, and he used to be even more dominant than that, but seeing a win ratio that's above 50% for an FXOpen player these days is really good. And he's definitely a player who knows how to play the matchup well, and if anything goes his way, if he gets any slight edge in the game, you're never going to beat him. You can't stop Lenok once he starts rolling.
Fruitland is going to the map. It's going to be the map. Axiom-Acer currently in a 2-0 lead, and this is an important game for both teams, because if Axiom-Acer takes it, then they need only one other map win, and I feel that this is something they will definitely be able to edge out later on. Lenok, he is the player where his team is always relying upon him. The newer player here, Showtime, of course, that we just see on camera, not happy about his performance in game number 1.
Yep, there's Hart drinking the last of his drink there. Now, Crank is 9-8 in GSTL. He's won 3 of his last 5 matches. And his win ratio against Zerg, not the best when you look at just these stats, but like we said before, he's a smart player. And when it comes to Fruitland, the smartest strategy usually wins, not necessarily the best macro, just like who can figure out how to play the map the best. Even if you disregard the lemons, the way the map plays out is actually just so unique compared to other maps with the 3rd and 4th base locations, the angles that you can get, the watchtower location in the middle as well. It's definitely the most unique map we've ever had, I think, in GSTL.
Crank, on the other hand, I mean, he just lost in the Premier League in America to Jan, but he took out Symbol in the GSTL. That was quite neat, and he has a couple of really good results against Zerg players in general. So Crank might be in a position where he can take down Ninok. We're going to find out. I mean, this game is going to be really important. This is the game where FXOpen says, like, okay, this is our first win. This today is going to be our first win, but Crank, he has other plans. He wants to take it for his team. He wants to bring Axiom-Acer in a 3-0 lead right now and end this match at the GSTL today quickly.
Yeah. And if he takes this win, it really puts Axiom-Acer into such a great place, because the two most clinch wins that FXOpen could take, the ones where they look like they might be able to have their best chances, this one and the next one. So if Crank takes that momentum just disappears in a second.
We're going into the game in just a second, ladies and gentlemen. We have Zerg versus Protoss coming up next with Linok up against Crank. It's going to be on Fruitland. Let's see who's going to harvest those mana lemons faster. Linok already promised he would try. We're going to find out if he's really going to do it. FXOpen needs to win. They're down 2 maps already. Can the Octopus deliver? We're going to find out right now at the GSTL.